Before tanks rolled or drones whispered, terror came on four legs. On battlefields of dust and blood, a shadow moved between the spears, muscle wrapped in loyalty, silence wound tight around fury. It was not a man, it was not a horse. It was Rome's living weapon, the Canis Pugnax. To the legionaries who marched from the sands of Africa to the mists of Britannia, this creature was no mere animal. It was a comrade that bit, bled, and died beside them. The Romans named it Canis Pugnax, the combat dog. Enemies called it a demon in flesh. And though centuries have buried its name, its legend still growls beneath the stones of Rome. Our trail begins far from the eternal city, among the cliffs of Epirus in ancient Greece. There the shepherds bred a giant guardian, the Molossus, to protect flocks from wolves and thieves. Aristotle called it a beast of power and vigilance. Virgil wrote of dogs that could face lions without fear. When Roman soldiers met these hounds during Balkan campaigns, they saw potential, raw, untamed, magnificent. Rome imported them by the hundreds, crossing them with Italian Mastiffs and the savage war dogs of northern tribes. From that brutal alchemy rose the Canis Pugnax, 60 centimeters of disciplined muscle, dark-coated, deep-voiced, and bred for obedience unto death. Imagine a Roman training ground, the ring of hammers, the smell of sweat and iron. Beside the recruits stand lines of dogs, eyes bright, chains rattling. They learn not tricks but tactics. They must ignore pain, ignore the chaos of battle, and move only when the centurion's signal flashes. They march 30 kilometers a day, carrying rations or messages in leather packs. At night they guard the castro walls, ears twitching at the faintest sound. Every heartbeat of the legion has a counterpart, steady, silent, canine. Before they earned their shields, many served Rome's darker hunger, spectacle. In the arenas, starved and sharpened, the Canis Pugnaces faced condemned men and wild beasts. When the gates burst open, they exploded into motion. Fangs against flesh, the crowds roared, drowning the screams. Some became famous enough to earn names, cheered like four-legged gladiators. But their destiny was not entertainment. Rome would soon unleash them where applause meant survival. As the Republic turned empire, new foes appeared. The Celts, the Germans, the Scythians, each unleashing their own war dogs. These beasts leapt over shields and tore through ranks, dying atop their masters' bodies. Rome watched, learned, and perfected. The Canis Pugnax would not charge blindly. It would act like a legionary, attack on command, recognize allies, hold position, die at its post. In the forests of Germania, the hills of Dacia, the marshes of Britannia, they marched beside the soldiers, a wall of teeth guarding the empire's frontiers. To enemies lurking in the dark, they were ghosts. To Rome's men, they were salvation. Historians seldom wrote of them, but the soldiers did. In carvings and epitaphs in memory, handlers fed them before themselves. Some carved on tombstones. To my guardian, my friend, my avenger. When a legionary fell, his dog often fought until death beside him, or kept watch over the body until both were buried together. Discipline forged them, love bound them. Fragments of record still whisper their deeds. At Vercelli in 101 BC, the invading Cimbri used dogs that fought long after their masters died, biting shields until spears silenced them. Rome remembered and refined. During Caesar's campaigns in Gaul and Britannia, enemy tribes fielded guard dogs. Soon Caesar's own legions did the same. Sculptures on the column of Marcus Aurelius showed dogs marching with soldiers. Proof carved in stone that these beasts were part of Rome's war machine, not ornament but tactic. Picture dawn on the Rhine frontier. Fog seeps through tents, armor glints pale. A sentry nods in exhaustion, yet beside him a dog sits rigid, nose quivering. A rustle, a whisper of movement. Before horns can sound, the beast lunges into the mist. A cry, a clash, silence. When the centurion arrives, an enemy scout lies dead, and the dog, wounded, guards him still. That is the heart of the Canis Pugnax, vigilance that never sleeps, loyalty that does not question, courage that does not calculate. But even legends fade. As centuries passed, the legions changed. Armor lightened, cavalry ruled, new weapons spoke in fire. The war dogs found fewer masters, their bloodlines diluted, their stories unrecorded. Some guarded villas instead of camps. Others vanished into the countryside with retired veterans. Yet to the old soldiers, they were never beasts of burden. They were the last brothers left from a vanished army. Today, echoes remain. The Neapolitan Mastiff, the Canis Corso, each carries a fragment of that ancient discipline, that silent ferocity. Their eyes still hold the same watchful calm that once stared across battlefields of empire. When you meet one, standing proud and still, remember, it carries the memory of Rome. Its heartbeat is a drum from another age. Empires fall, marble cracks, names fade, but loyalty endures. Before tanks, before drones, before the thunder of gunfire, fear ran on four legs. The Canis Pugnax was Rome's forgotten soldier, forged in blood and bound by devotion. If this story moved you, honor their memory. Leave a like, share the tale, and subscribe so history's voices are never silenced. And remember, may Mars guard your path and may loyalty never die.